Another test for our San Antonio Spurs, who are currently on a 2-game win streak and start the season off 10-4. They will be taking on an Atlanta Hawks team that is 9-6, but that have also been struggling with the injury bug. Both teams are missing some key starters. However, I have to imagine these two teams will still put on a big game for the fans. What's good, Spurs Digest family? I'm Bryan Colbert here with another Spurs Digest pregame show as our Spurs continue with what seems like an historic start for San Antonio. They have a big test against the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to break that entire game down and who we need to step up in place of injury for both teams. But before we do that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that doorbell to be notified every single time we post, because we are posting content every day here on Spurs Digest. You guys are allowing us to rapidly grow into one of the biggest Spurs content spaces in the world, and we appreciate y'all so much. But y'all know how we do on these pregame shows. We start with the official injury report, and these days we gotta start with the official injury report because it's not just the Spurs that are injured left and right. Teams all across the league are injured left and right. So you see at the top right there, the Atlanta Hawks missing a number of key guys. Porzingis questionable. Their top pick last year questionable, and then we're missing the big ones: Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper, McLaughlin, and then, of course, Victor Wembanyama. This will be a battle of two teams that are injured out the wazoo. However, they have guys that have stepped up and are willing to step up, and that is all it's about. Because before last game's loss against Detroit, the Hawks were on a 5-game win streak, even with all of these injuries. So they have guys that can get it done, and we're going to talk about all that. But really, it's about our guys getting it done, because we have shown that our role players can get it done in major ways. I have to give love to Harrison Barnes to start this pregame because he was a monster in the win against the Memphis Grizzlies, just getting it done in a myriad of ways, playing defense, hitting big shots, even taking it to the hoop and dunking. Harrison Barnes has had what looks like possibly a resurgent season for him. I think he's always played well. He's always been a great leader. He's always been on winning teams, it feels like. But something about this season just is hitting different for Harrison Barnes. They trusted him to remain the starter, which I honestly, if you would have asked me the preseason, I would have wondered if he would have kept that starting spot because of how talented guys like Jeremy Sochan and Keldon are. But Harrison Barnes has held on to that starting spot and has looked phenomenal, and he is going to be a big reason why we find success without our current players right here. Harrison Barnes has looked so good and looked really, really good against the Memphis Grizzlies, just getting it done and showing why he belongs in that starting rotation, but also why he still has a lot in the tank for the San Antonio Spurs. 23 points, 9 of 14, and 4 from 8 from 3, adding 5 rebounds and 3 assists. He did that all in 32 minutes. I mean, you can't ask for much more from a role player, right? I mean, I talked about Devin Vassell being that guy that I thought was going to have a really, really big game, being that, number 2 option. But Harrison Barnes stepped into that role well. And I think that that's what's scary about the Spurs teams is they can get you in a bunch of different ways. There's going to be nights when Julian Champagnie is hitting 5 threes. There's going to be nights when Devin Vassell is close to dropping 30. There's going to be nights when Keldon is coming off the bench and doing his thing. It seems like every night Keldon is coming off the bench doing his thing. But there's a team. This is a team right here that has so many different options and so many different ways to beat you. And really, it's been nice to see the offense run through De'Aaron Fox. I think a big part of why we've seen these other guys be able to get off is the way De'Aaron Fox has been able to run the offense. He runs the offense very, very well. Not a high assist rate, but the way that the Spurs move the ball, they're moving the ball so many different ways. De'Aaron Fox is a big part of why this offense has been running so smoothly, and it's been great to see as well. He, last game, with 26 points, 10 of 20 for shooting. A really strong game for him as well in just 33 minutes. And I talked a lot about how important it is for De'Aaron Fox to make the most of this time with Stephon Castle, with Dylan Harper not there, with Wemby not there. Like, he gets to be the number 1 guy. He gets to be the star. And to me, I think this is a great way for him to play himself back in shape, right? Because after missing all that time, you're going to have to find ways to get comfortable. And we have seen that in real time. And again, this is one of those games where we're going to be looking at that as well, looking at our guys, our role players to come in and get comfortable. Carter Bryant hit a big shot. We love seeing that. I think 5 points for Carter Bryant. These are guys that are going to need to get minutes. And right now, this is the time to do it. Because when we start getting into that playoff stretch, we start getting into that post-All-Star break stretch, we are going to need to be healthy. We're going to need our unit to be playing together so Mitch Johnson can see what rotations to use. But during this period right here, where the stakes aren't as high, I think Mitch wants to see what he can truly get out of these guys and who he can truly rely on. Because there's depth here. There's depth here. And a lot of times when you have depth, sometimes you have to sit a player that should possibly be playing. But there's just so much depth when I look up and down on this roster. There's so many key players, and I've loved seeing Mitch pretty much plug in everybody. Like, there's not a lot of guys that aren't playing. He's finding ways to get guys in. These games are very, very important. Then you have an Atlanta Hawks team who has players. You have an Atlanta Hawks team who has players that can get it done, and you don't want to see them get off. You don't want to see guys in Atlanta find ways to find success against this team, because we've seen it against other teams, right? We've seen Atlanta find ways to win. And they really only lost to a 13-2 Detroit team who has been balling. Like, this Atlanta Hawks team is much better than advertised. I know you look at a team and say, oh, they don't have Trae Young, but nah, that's not the case. Because they got a guy in Jalen Johnson who was playing phenomenal basketball. Nickeil Alexander-Walker has stepped in and looked good for them. Dyson Daniels, one of the best defenders in the NBA. So there's guys on this roster that can get it done. And I think the Dyson Daniels versus De'Aaron Fox battle tonight is going to be very interesting, because, again, Dyson Daniels is up there with the best perimeter defenders in the NBA. And you know he's going to be looking to take De'Aaron Fox out of this game. But I want to see us take Jalen Johnson out of this game. How do we do that? How do we do that without Wemby? How do we get him out? I'd love to lean on Jeremy Sochan for that. I'd love to lean on Harrison Barnes for that. Cornette. There are guys out there that can really, really get it done. It's just you have to play good ball. You can't turn the ball over in this game, because Atlanta will make you pay. You can't make small mistakes, because Atlanta will make you pay. You can't leave guys open in rotations, because Atlanta will make you pay. This is a team that is built for success. And just because they do not have Trae Young doesn't mean they are not cold. I said it to start the show. They were on a 5-game win streak before losing, barely really losing to a Detroit team that's 13-2. They took it to Detroit. They came out ready. Now, they started off a little slow, and Detroit started off hot, and I think that's why they were able to win. That's what we have to do tonight. The San Antonio Spurs have to start off hot. We need to be putting the ball in De'Aaron Fox's head and let him do his thing, because you cannot start slow against Atlanta. This is going to be really hard to play catch up against them, because every player on their roster plays defense. That's why I look at the Spurs and I'm like, man, it seems like every guy on our roster plays defense. When you look at Atlanta and you look at some of these guys out there, I mean, their whole starting lineup plays D. They have size, they have length, they make good decisions, they hit open shots, they find a way to get guys open. So this is going to be a test. This is going to be a battle. Like, getting a win tonight, this would be a big time, especially with how depleted we are. But when I look at the depth of the Spurs team, it's hard for me to get nervous that we're missing guys, because, it makes me excited to see these other guys play, because we have a number of starters on our bench that could easily start and play. And now they're in a role that is much easier than what they've been asked to do, right? Like, Jeremy Sochan's in a role that's much easier than the things that he's been asked to do. Keldon is in a role that is finally consistent. That has not been something we've seen from him in his career. And then Devin Vassell as well, where he had to be the number one guy at times. Now he's the third guy, the fourth guy, which is excellent, because these guys have all shown they can play bigger roles and get it done. But the fact that they're not asked to be doing so much, this roster has been built so well. There's so much depth here. It just makes me excited. A game like this, I think, is going to be a true test, a true benchmark for where the Spurs are at while they get healthy. Because where I sit, I don't know how you guys feel as fans, but where I sit, I want Wemby to take his time. I want Stephon Castle to take his time. I want the guys that are injured to take their time in getting back. Because when I look at the way we've been playing, when I look at the way we've been coached, it's like, hey, listen, let's let the other guys play too. Let's see what we have, because we're going to need all of these guys. We're going to need a 10, an 11-man rotation to really do what we want to get done in the playoffs, and that is make a championship push. So Spurs Digest family, let us know in the comments how y'all feeling. Do you think Atlanta's going to be a test? Am I giving them a little too much love? Or have you seen what I've seen from the Hawks? A team that is very, very hungry, and a team that is just waiting to get fully healthy, much like our San Antonio Spurs. Let us know what you think in the comments. And of course, if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that doorbell to be notified every single time we post, because we are dropping content after content for y'all. And it is the season, baby. We are in it. And the Spurs are off to a miraculous start, man. We have just been going crazy, and it's been so exciting to see. And we haven't been healthy yet. We haven't even seen the whole squad yet. So just imagine what it's going to look like when we're healthy and making that playoff push because we know it's this year, baby. It's time now. Things have changed, and it's all around this amazing team. But we're hurt. We're injured a little bit. It's the De'Aaron Fox show right now, and I'm so excited to continue to watch the De'Aaron Fox show because I know just like y'all, I have been enjoying it a ton. He has silenced so many critics, so many doubters, and I love to see it. Until next time, I'm your host, Bryan Colbert. This is the Spurs Digest Pregame Show. Go Spurs, go.